It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? You know who it is. You know what time is it? Yes, it's Geno Jones showtime. I guess you figured out I must be Geno. You're right. So I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. You and everybody you know, everybody you don't know, everybody that you like, that you love, folks you can't stand, strangers, aliens from outer space, tell them all. Must see TV. It is simply the best. The Geno Jones Show. Let me click on a button right here because my guest is Tuesday. So my guest, he is an activist, social justice warrior, and freedom fighter. And the brother brings the heat. He's a brilliant brother. A.J. Davis is going to join me shortly. But let me start off by, I want to entertain, because, you know, I entertain, you know, as the comedian, I do comedy. I use humor to like, some people call it edutate, like to entertain, educate, and entertain. So you can make up whatever damn word you want to. But let's talk about, let's reclaim black folks. Like you hear them in the Congress and Senate. I'm reclaiming my time. Senator, I'm reclaiming my time. Well, listen, the entire African diaspora, not just here in America, but globally, we are reclaiming our term. Let's talk about the word woke. Because you've got the white nationalists and the white Christian nationalists and the domestic terrorists and just those anti-black, very hateful, just want to take us back 200 plus years. They tried to redefine for themselves. But it's funny, they use the term woke as like a slur, with the proper term, pejorative. Just Google pejorative, a negative term. I'll do it for you. I'll save you the Webster's or the Merriam definition Google search. How about that? Woke is bad. Woke is, you know, it wants to, as a matter of fact, you know what it is? It's a term that's called gaslighting. Now, if you know what gaslighting is, it's basically doing something or accusing you of something that, like, if I'm gaslighting you, so I'm accusing you of something that I'm really doing, saying, or thinking. But I'm going to make you, I'm going to make you think that you're crazy, that you're the one that's doing everything that I'm saying and doing to you. So try to reverse engineer the word. But I'm going to help you out. So for the MAGA cult out there, because I know you are kind of disappointed because your boy, you thought, listen, let me just say this. Be very careful up there in New York City, because all the cops in New York City are not part of the MAGA cult and ain't crazy about your boy Orange Hitler. So they are prepared, and you do know they have a black mayor and a black female police chief. Now, y'all can F around and find out if you want to, because I heard that you all went and was trying to harass the LGBT community. I think it was like a drag show or something. The Proud Boys and some of these white nationalists and domestic terrorists, they were trying to go bully. I guess they figured because, you know, it was a gay, lesbian, trans community that they weren't, it's, the kids say on the street, they weren't about that life. Translation, that they weren't going to defend themselves, that they wouldn't fight. Well, as I forgot the TV show back in the day, surprise, surprise, surprise. The Proud Boys, oh yeah, when they got their asses handed to them. So I guess the LGBT community said, don't get it twisted, partner. Just because we are part of the LGBT community, we ain't no punks. You get that? Don't get it twisted. So, but because, you know, your boy, you have to understand, this dude, you know I'm talking about, Orange Hitler. He's like a little kid that's acting out in the supermarket with his parents. He just wants attention. He didn't know. Nobody knows what this grand jury and what this brother Alvin Bragg, the prosecutor in New York, only him and his staff know when they're going to indict this dude. Not to mention Fonnie Willis, the Fulton County District Attorney in Georgia, and then this other guy, Jack, the special prosecutor, that's really gonna ring his ass up for sedition and inciting an insurrection. But I digress. So let me get back. Let me help you out with the definition of woke. So America, listen, be woke. Be woke to the people that want to ban books by black people and gays and lesbians and trans and brown people and anybody that's just not part of this white Christian nationalist, very racist ideology that want to erase the true history of America because it might make some children, some white children feel bad about what their ancestors did. How do you think black kids feel about what happened to their ancestors? How do you think the Native American children feel when they find out that Native American children were snatched from their parents and they were beaten, killed, and the ones that weren't beaten and killed, they cut their hair and it made them lose their language and their culture? So, but I digress. So let's talk about why America, you should be woke. Because for you not to be woke will allow you not just to allow people to ban books by black people and other people of color and other different communities that these domestic terrorists see as inferior, but they want to erase the true history, all of it, including the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly, but the truth, the real history, the racism, the genocide of black people and Native Americans that I was just speaking about. Be woke, women of America, and this is not just black women, but all women. Be woke that these same men, part of this cult, want to make it, they want to be allowed, they want you to get the death penalty for having an abortion, for deciding what you want to do with your body. Even in the case of rape and incest, to force a 12-year-old to have the baby of the rapist? You want to give women the death penalty for terminating a pregnancy? Be woke, be awoke. Women, all women of America. Be woke to people that want to take your freedom. They want to take your religious freedom, that if you're not part of this white Christian nationalist cult, then your religion is invalid and it must be evil. And all right, be awake. Now let me help you with the real definition of woke, and I'm going to bring on AJ. So woke, don't worry, put your phone down, put the tablet down. You don't need Webster's, you don't need Merriam's. You got Geno. Woke means to be aware, to have your eyes open. As my grandfather said, don't let anybody pull the wool over your eyes. Or another one of his pearls of wisdom, let me pull your coat, which meant let me educate you, let me inform you, let me warn you, let me enlighten you, let me make you aware. Woke means to be aware, to pay attention to what's happening to you and other people in your world and around the world. So we hear people talk about, oh, we're anti-woke, like Governor Too Short DeSantis, Florida. Florida is the state where woke goes to die, which means they want black folks to die if they're protesting, because he passed a law to where people in their car, if they feel threatened, can run over a protester and not be charged with a crime. Anti-woke means basically the desire and the ability to oppress, to be racist, hateful, misogynistic, sexist, homophobic, religious bigots, anti-immigrant hatred, and to harm, hurt, or kill people without being held accountable at all. To be able to just do whatever the hell you want to do without impunity. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Oh, they're not just coming for me, they're coming for you. I need you to protest, protest, protest. Let's take our country back. Let's make America great again for who and when. Let's talk. Do you want to talk about? No, you don't want to have that conversation because remember, that would be considered critical race theory. Let me explain to you what critical race theory is once again. All right, basically, it's a theory about how racism was used to create laws and public policy. And it's a class that's only taught in law schools. It was never taught in elementary school. It was never taught in middle school. It was never taught in high school. And it's not taught in undergrad classes. Only basically in law schools. And not every law school. But it's like, well, it sounds good. Let's try to flip it. And, critical race theory. And then you ask them, what does critical race theory mean? I don't know, but it's not good. And it's going to make our children feel horrible about themselves. So America, be woke to the people that want to take your freedoms. Because maybe they're not coming for you today, but eventually, they'll come for your ass too. Just ask Mike Pence about that. And he was an old white man loyal to the MAGA cult. How did that work out for his ass? It almost got him literally hung on a gallows that was on the U.S. Capitol, January 6th, 2021. Let me bring on activist, social justice warrior, freedom fighter. I'm done talking. I'm passing the mic like DJ Cassidy, ladies and gentlemen. That's my dude right there, AJ Davis. So, hey man, my monologue, my work is done here, but I know we have a lot of work, so you always enlighten us, inspire us, get us, fired up, and you educate us. So, what you want to drop on us today, man?
Well, first and foremost, Gino, let me say thank you. I was sitting here bobbing my head to the monologue. I was like, yeah, keep dropping those gems. It's very, very fitting that you hit on the word woke because the opposite of woke is asleep in the dictionary. And so what Republicans and conservatives want you to be is asleep so that they can continue doing what they're doing to destroy the infrastructure of society for anybody that is non-white, non-Christian, non-heterosexual. Um, and literally that's what's going on. Like there's been a bunch of political pundits talking about it, romanticizing what's happening. What it is when we go back and look at what happened in the 50s and 60s and 70s even, and we look at the racism of the time, the overt racism, that's what's happening now, just in an era where we have the internet and access to instant information. Ron DeSantis might as well be George Wallace, Donald Trump might as well be the dude Rockefeller. So all these things that are happening, George Rockwell, sorry, all these things that are happening are basically the latest iteration of something that's always been happening. And so, to your point about woke, and I want to touch on that because I also know, you know, people saw or have hopefully seen the viral clip of the young lady who got caught by the sister on the interview not being able to define woke despite having a whole book where she said they dedicated a chapter Bethany Mandel.
Yes, I saw that
And
video.
but then turn around, Newsweek gave her a redemption article where she got to explain herself or whatever. But it just goes to show that white mediocrity will always trump black authenticity.
And black
And that's where
excellence.
we are.
And black
Right.
excellence.
So what I want people watching, I hope they got from you what you was given, but I also want to hit it home with this. In 2023 and 2024, because for some states they got elections this year, some states got elections coming up, but definitely 2023 and 2024, uh, folks need to get to the polls, but also folks need to get out into their communities, start having these conversations. I'm gonna say this, and it may not go well with some of the audience, but truly understand this is said out of love. Black people, certain sectors of our community will let BS spread like wildfire. Whatever the latest celebrity gossip, entertainment gossip, and listen, I get it. You know, entertainment gossip can be, entertaining. But when we're talking about thousands of teachers, I don't know if people know, LA Integrated School District shut down today.
Yes.
Los Angeles Integrated School District shut down today. Go look at how many teachers, staff, students, families are impacted by that. It's real out here right now. Folks are getting tired. Folks, people in education are tired of being the whipping post for these conservative ideologues and these corporations coming in and trying to paint a picture of incompetence. So who do you think is paying the cost for that? Our students and their families.
Yeah.
So to my black folks, to the viewers of this show, please understand, with the same level of fervor that you ran with the Kanye West and the Kyrie Irving and the Beyonce ticket prices and all this other stuff, the Real Housewives of wherever, run with this. Run with this information, because the truth of the matter is, Gino, we've got to get people to really drill down into this political arena. It's not about Republican, Democrat. It's about positions of power and authority.
That part.
And right now, in many states, Republicans are in that position. So when I see people sitting there trying to give me the whole, well, they're both two sides of the same coin,
No. No.
that's the lazy man's argument. Because none of those people can ever tell me when there was ever a time that we had the ideal political situation. But what we did have were people mobilized in the streets, people understand the power of the black vote. Hell, we see a lot of black people talk about the Black Panthers without acknowledging that they were a political apparatus. Okay? The Black Panthers, the Black Panthers that are popular in black culture came from the Black Panther Party of Lowndes County, Alabama. That's where they got their logo from. That party was organized to make sure that black representation politically could come about. So when people are out here trying to wear blackness, make being pro-black a trend, know your history. We have to start getting not only to the polls, we have to start supporting candidates. I love when people sit here and try to convince me that voting doesn't matter, because I can usually tell people that are ignorant about politics. If voting doesn't matter, Gino, if voting did not matter, why are there billions of dollars put into political campaigns? Let's ask the simplest question. When have we ever known white people, corporations, donors to put money in something that doesn't matter?
Especially
The
that
irony,
kind of money.
right. The irony is, you'll listen to those same black people say voting don't matter, but then they'll be the same ones to try to give you some advice on investing in the stock market. Wait a minute. So you can see white folks investing in this, but not that. Just admit that you're ignorant about how politics works, and we can move together. Because right now, we need to be focusing on school boards. We need to be focusing on city and town councils. We need to be focusing on state house races. We need to be focusing on U.S. congressional seats. There's a couple Senate seats. South Carolina doesn't have one, but every congressional representative in every state will be up next year. So Those are 2-year seats. Find out if somebody's running. If you have a local political party, the thing about voting, we have to understand it's a game of numbers. All right. And the numbers make or break what happens. Yes, gerrymandering is a thing. But the reality of it is, if we don't have the numbers registered and active, we can't push back. So every year, and I want parents who are sitting here watching this show tonight, your babies that are getting ready to graduate in a couple months and go off to college or the military, are they registered to vote? Have you had that conversation with them? Because they can vote absentee. We have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of young people who go off every year that we don't even have the conversation on why it's important. Statistics are showing that for young people, Gen Z and millennials, the dream of home ownership is just that, a dream, unless we do something to reverse these horrible policies that are put in place. We've got more Americans that are being crippled by student loan and medical debt than we've ever had in our country's existence. Those are things that can be addressed by those we elect. So there is hope. We can't sit here wringing our hands. We can't sit here, you know, giving all of our attention to the Shade Room and TMZ, but not watching the news programs and reading the paper. Go down to your local city council meeting. Find out who's representing you. Ask them where they stand, because politics at all levels, every level, impacts us.
And
You
let me
talk
just
about
let me.
Go ahead.
I just want to piggyback on some things that's really important. And I don't know if you have these numbers in your head, but let me just say this, and I'm gonna say it again to especially my millennials and my Gen Zers. I've been saying all along. There's an old school song from the '90s called "I Got the Power." A group called Snap, One Hit Wonder. I got the power. I'm gonna say this again. My millennials, my Gen Zers, you all have the power. And I know, because I've got a daughter that's a millennial and a Gen Zer. You all really feel it's your time, and it is your time to lead. But you've got to step into your power. Here in South Carolina, the last election, you talked about it last week. We had a black woman that was running to be governor. We had a black woman that was running for the United States Senate seat that could have got Tim Scott up out of there. The turnout, the voter turnout for black South Carolinians was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even believe it was 30%. AJ, I don't know if you got that number on you, but do you recall, but the last I heard, the last number that I saw, that the black voter turnout was under 30%.
That is correct. I think final vote tally might have it at right at 30 or 29 point something. But yeah, vote turnout was terrible.
So
Not only was
7 out of 10 black people who had the power, including many millennials and Gen Zers and some Gen Xers and some baby boomers, so I'm not letting their ass off the hook. But the point that I'm trying to make and AJ is making, listen, we complain, women, you've got lawmakers that have already written up peace bills, as they call them, that they want to turn into law to basically make it a capital murder. If you terminate a pregnancy for whatever reason, it's your body. But if you terminate a pregnancy, they want you to be given the death penalty. Let that set in. So out of that, 7 out of 10 black people who had the power to make sure that our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, our sisters, our wives, our mothers, for whatever reason, if they have to, they may have to terminate a pregnancy to save their life, or maybe they don't want any kids, or they can't afford any more kids. Whatever the reason, it's their body. And men would never tolerate anybody telling us what to do with our bodies. We wouldn't do it. We would not do it.
You
Men,
know what?
we couldn't even deal with being pregnant because men can't even stand to be constipated, let alone vaginal births and C-section. So God kind of knew, it's like, well, I know y'all men and y'all weak ass can't stand no pain. So the human race will be extinct. So let me give them the ability to bring life into the world. I digress. But the point we're trying to make is step into your power. And if you don't like what the Democrats are doing, blah, 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 take over the power. Take over the power. Run for office. Our brother Aaron Hicks is running for a North Charleston council seat. He's going to be my guest tomorrow, AJ. So if you don't like the way folks are doing something, change it. You got the ability to change it, to change the game, to change the party, to change the direction, not only of this state, but this country. So I'm going to give you the final words on that, man.
Gino, everything you said and then some. But here's what I want people to understand if they don't understand anything else. As Black people, we tend to take an apathetic and indifferent attitude towards a lot of things. We think that, oh, that's just how things are. There's nothing that we can do that's going to change that, whatever, whatever. We're at a point where our parents and grandparents have been. And this is going to make or break the future for us, our children, and our grandchildren. And that's not hyperbole. Because right now, white conservatives, white racists are laying down the gauntlet. They're basically saying, stop us. Stop us.
Yes, that's true.
Because they are saying to us that no matter how ridiculous we may think, people sit there and they look at folks like Ron DeSantis and they're like, oh man, he's crazy. No, Ron DeSantis is doing, he is testing, he is the canary in the coal mine. He is testing just how far a state can go, how far an elected official can go before somebody says enough is enough. And you know how they can tell how tired a group of people are, how resistant they are? By election results. So folks can sit up here and wax philosophical on social media, getting the back and forths on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. But unless it shows up at the polls, unless it shows up in the election returns, unless it shows up in individuals getting elected who are willing to do, as you said, change the narrative, change what's going on, vote in policies. You hear Republicans use terms like inflation, taxes. That's been their thing since forever. Now, where's the other side? Where's affordable housing access? Where's affordable health care and prescription drug prices? Where is quality, equitable education? Where is criminal justice reform?
Where's the living wage?
Economic development and infrastructure for marginalized communities? The list goes on and on. And those things are never going to come about, Gino, until the people who are elected want them to. And if you don't believe it can come about, ask yourself this question. 3 years ago, did you even think that the term CRT would be a political issue? Most people didn't even know about it. And look at where we are 3 years later, where people are getting elected off of something that the average person didn't even know existed. Don't tell me about what can't happen. It's about not rather if, but rather than people have the will to make it happen. If you're not pushing your elected representatives to do what's necessary, it's not just enough to vote for them, it's keep your foot on their neck when they get in office. Make sure that you know and they know that the same way they got there, they can be moved.
Absolutely.
That's it.
As my grandfather, one of his many pearls of wisdom, another one was, you do what you want to do when you want to do it bad enough. So I got about a minute and a half. AJ, I just want you, and then when you come back on, you can take a deeper dive. But parents, if you're worried about these schools banning books and basically trying to erase Black history or the truth about American history and all the achievements of Black people, if you are concerned about that, and you should be, and not just Black people, white people, Hispanic people of all ethnicities, if you want our next generations to be ignorant of the true history, and one of the reasons that you are taught history, so you won't repeat the same mistakes in the future. Will you? And you've been stressing this. Could you just kind of, in the last minute and a half we got, just tell people how they can get on the school boards, why that's so important, and why every parent, especially every black parent, not just here in South Carolina, but nationwide, you need to be at every school board meeting, and as many of you all need to be on these school boards.
Basically, parent voice, black parent voice, but parent voice is one of the most critical needs on the school board. School board members work for the public. And so if they're not hearing your voice, if your voice is not at that table, then the voices of our children, our families, and our communities are not at that table. And running for school board may seem intimidating, but there are organizations and groups that are out there that can provide training, help you to build infrastructure. And that's another thing for our black organizations and groups. That's something else that you can do to help building political capacity, helping people who want to run but maybe don't know how. All of these are things. And we need that now more than ever because it's not going to stop just because we're voicing our displeasure.
That's right.
We have to show them through our actions that enough is a damn enough.
And AJ, tell folks in like the last 45 seconds to a minute how they can listen. You don't even have to have money be on a school board. You can show up to these school board meetings and let your voices and the voice of your children and your community be heard. What's the best way if somebody's saying, well, what do I do? How do I know when the school board meeting is? What do I have to have? Could you
just go to your local school district's website and look for the meeting agendas and meeting calendar on there, or ask your your student's teacher. They can point you to that, and or administrator. But ask questions for those that you don't know and expect answers. And I'll stop there.
AJ Davis, let everybody know where they can follow you, man.
Anjane Davis on Facebook, Anjene Davis. Anjane 1976 on Twitter, and Mr. Community on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok as Anjane Davis as well.
So MSNBC may have my man Ellie Nastall, and they got Reverend Al, and we got my man down in Florida, the Black America's Attorney General, Brother Crump. But we got activist, social justice warrior, freedom fighter, my brother AJ Davis. AJ, thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you as always, Geno. I appreciate the love.
Thank you, man. We'll see you next time. Yes, he's a regular contributor to the show, and you see why I bring him on, because he always brings the knowledge, the education, the inspiration, the receipts, the armor that you need to fight this battle of protecting everybody's freedom, specifically our freedom, our justice, our equity, and inclusion, which some states are making that even illegal to say those words. Hello, Florida. So why are we going to Florida? Why are we going to South Beach? And I love South Beach. Why are we going to Disney World? Like my grandmother told me, don't beg anybody to take your money. And don't spend your money with anybody that doesn't respect you and your money. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. And God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. I just want to send a prayer out. And for those who believe in the power of prayer, shout out to, he's really family. We've known each other for 3 decades. He's an air personality, a star radio personality out in Los Angeles. Also, he works in sports media. Andre Russell, my brother Andre Russell, tragically lost his nephew about 2 weeks ago. So lift Andre Russell and his family. If you're out in LA, if you know Dre Russell, or anybody, all my people watching me out in Los Angeles, send a prayer, reach out to Andre, and just lift him up and let him know you're lifting him and his family up in prayer. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. He is the CEO of Designer Cuts here in the Charleston, South Carolina Metro. You can check him out on Instagram, Kel Be Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP, because Kel be cutting up. Allie Jones is the drip director, the official fashion designer and the wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check her out on Instagram. It's LX.NCL underscores that little dash at the bottom there. LX.NCL underscore. And Bruce Gage, also wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram. The Mario Uomo collection, the Flyball collection. Check Bruce Gage out on Instagram. It's Amiglio di Mario Uomo, MIGILIODIMARIOUOMO. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be Wednesday. That's going to be tomorrow. Working Deep is Wednesday, but my guest is going to be a brother named Aaron Hicks. Aaron is running to be one of the next North Charleston Council members. So I'll let him tell you why he's running, what his platform is, and what he plans to do if elected for you, especially if you live in the city of North Charleston, South Carolina, and what all politicians, regardless of what community they represent, what they should be doing. Thank you. I love each and every one of you. I really do. Thank you, Mother. I love you more than life itself. She's watching. She's my number one fan, my publicist, my PR director, my executive producer. And she runs my chat room. Anybody watching, feel free. If you're watching me live, you can join the conversation in my chat room. It's always open, and it is open when I'm live on camera. And if you've got a comment, if you're not watching me live but you still want to share a comment, reach out to me right there, the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. So until Wednesday, 6:30 p.m., as always, be blessed. Pray for peace. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.